Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. It's Wednesday, April 5th, 2017. This evening, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. to midnight if you're on the East Coast, will be the 31st episode of the Gematria Effect, every Wednesday night Truth Frequency Radio. Last week, we were talking about Donald Trump, the police state president, how the police state is being built, how our cell phones, how our smartphones are part of this agenda. The message isn't to have fear, it's to have awareness and speak out and put an end to the growing tyranny. And since last week's show, there's been more news that reminds me of Big Brother, the police state, the novel 1984. Tonight, I want to hear your calls. The call board should be working this evening. The number is 866-37-TRUTH, 866-37-TRUTH. Tonight, I want to talk about the police state and what we as a people can do to put an end to it. So, to get you warmed up, we're going to talk about the leader of North Korea and how he is 33 years old again for the second year in a row. I overheard the media discussing him being 33 years old at the beginning of February, and I said, wait a minute, he couldn't still be 33. The media made a big deal when he turned 33 last year in January at the beginning of 2016. And real quick, I just have one of those mini clips from last year in the media. Let me turn this up for you. Make sure you can hear this. Hold on, Truth Seeker. I'm even going to put it on the better speaker. For those of you with quieter speakers, I got to hook up the Bluetooth real quick. Sometimes it takes just a split second. Sometimes it doesn't automatically connect. Sometimes. All right, here we go. This clip is from last year, January 6th, 2016. Watch what the news anchor says about remember the H-bomb test to start 2016 in North Korea? It was a news story for a week. Anyhow, just listen to what this news commentator says about the testing of the bomb. Here we go.
Mines in North Korea ready to use, and so this test, just 2 days, by the way, before Kim Jong-un's 33rd birthday, one projects power to the North Koreans.
So there it is. He says this test 2 days before his 33rd birthday. And keep in mind, this is January 6th, 2016, the day this happened. So he turned 33 to start last year. And this year, if you watch the news, they keep talking about how he's 33 again. And lo and behold, they have changed his age. Last year, he was born in 1983. This year, he's born in 1984. And what we're going to talk about is the novel 1984, George Orwell's death, and what that had to do with the start of the Korean War, which has now given us the legacy of North Korea and South Korea. If you don't know your history, the Korean War began in 1950. It was a civil war. The United States fought for the South. Russia fought for the North. Think about the U.S. and Russia right now, connected through Korea. The alliances remain the same way. So North Korea, Iran, they're these two nations that for the entire post 9/11 agenda, the mainstream media has constantly reminded people they are a threat. They could produce nuclear weapons and attack America. We've heard this a million times. There is a film put out by the Heritage Foundation, the conservative right-wing group. The Heritage Foundation has a film called 33 Minutes. And real quick, I just want you to see that in Gematria, Heritage Foundation comes to the same thing as propaganda. They have this film called 33 Minutes, and I'll link all this down below if you want to watch it later. But this film right here, 33 Minutes, I don't know why it says 2016. Maybe they have an updated version. This film came out in 2013 or 2012. But what the film's about is how it would take 33 minutes for a nuclear or ballistic missile to attack the United States if it were launched from North Korea or Iran. If it came from either one of those locations, it would take exactly 33 minutes. Never mind they're a different distance from the United States. But anyway, the film's 33 minutes. Heritage Foundation propaganda. Just think about 33 minutes in light of this coding of 33 into 2 years in a row, Kim's birth age. By the way, the name Kim in Gematria equals 33. But check this out, just real quick before we get into the more recent news, what's going on with 1984, the novel, and so much more. Look at this. Last year, the hydrogen bomb test was supposedly on the date January 5th. January 5th was the date of the test. The word hydrogen has Gematria 51, and hydrogen bomb test has Gematria of 84. Now, in 2017, his birthday's been changed from 1983 to 1984, and we've been talking about this 1984 George Orwell theme for years, the whole time I've been here. So look, the Korean War in 1984, if you've never read the novel 1984 by George Orwell, real quick, this author right here, George Orwell wrote this book, 1984. He wrote it after World War II. It was published in 1949. It's about a nation that's always at war overseas, and its people know it's always at war because there's threats out there, but they don't really understand what the wars are about or exactly the whole nature of the threat. This book was more than fiction. This book was a warning for what was coming in the United States of America and elsewhere. Just real quick, in case you're new here and you've never seen any of my work before on the language of Gematria, let's talk about 84 very quickly. What's so interesting about this number? I'll link this calculator down below. When I began this channel, I only knew about this dark blue column, full reduction, and English ordinal. And just watch this. United States of America sums to 84 in full reduction. These other numbers are relevant too. There's 132 rooms at the White House. England equals 132. Catholic Church, where the White House is, used to be the Catholic colony. That's why Maryland and Virginia, the Virgin Mary, surround Washington, D.C. Anyhow, United States of America, 84. Watch this green method. States is 84, right? If you write United States, it has Gematria of 40, and the reason that's cool is if you write out 40, it sums to 84. Have you ever heard of the show The Twilight Zone? The Twilight Zone, 84. The writer for that show is Rod Serling, Serling 84. If you take this Gematria knowledge and apply it to the character names of each episode and what the theme of the episode's about, you'll figure it out. You know, the character's name will sum to 38. The episode will be about death. Death equals 38. Gematria, very relevant to Freemasons up at the top. And with regards to 84 in Freemasonry, Masonry has Gematria of 84, just like Zionism. And these are the powerful movements that are controlling the television, the news of the day, and so much more. So anyhow, Masonry, 84, 1984, a warning about a nation of people ruled over by fear and intimidation from their government. They're ruled over by screens. As time passes on, history changes. The facts of history change. The numbers of history change. Think about that in light of them reporting Mr. Kim as being 33 years old 2 years in a row. And again, Kim equals 33. You know, last year he's 33. This year he's 33. Will he be 33 next year? It remains to be seen. But the point to understand is it's not coincidental. And I want to show you just how creepy this all is. If you read 1984, the main character is Winston. Keep in mind the book was written right after World War II. Winston Churchill, leading figure from the UK, where Orwell's from. Winston has this Gematria of 33. And just for kicks, while we're on World War, notice the English ordinal, 114. World War, 114. The U.S. got involved in World War II because of Pearl Harbor. The thing they tell us the most about the World War is the Holocaust. It's not a coincidence. These are all special numbers coded again and again through our contrived history. You know, real quick, if you didn't catch, World War the small way was 42, very special number to Freemasonry. Freemasons 42. History's 42. The word war is also 42. The word gun is 42. The word sin is 42. The word Savior is 42. The word New Testament is 42. I think it's Crusades. Is it Crusades? No, that's not it. Is it the Crusades? That's what it is. The Crusades is also 42. Just think about it. 42-line Bibles, New Testament 42. 42 generations to Jesus to begin the New Testament. Jesus said he came to bring the sword. What does that mean? There's been a lot of wars in the name of religion, including Christianity. But if I forgot to mention, Japan, who's blamed for getting us into World War II, we saw how World War is 42 just like war. Japan's got some special numbers. So anyhow, George Orwell, he died January 21st, 1950. He died, and look, his birthday is June 25th, right? He's born June 25th. Look at what day the Korean War started. The Korean War began June 25th, 1950. The Korean War began on George Orwell's birthday, the man who just published this book about a nation that's always at war, fighting with people overseas, where, the own populace that is supposedly being fought for, they know that their country's at war, but they don't exactly understand why. And think about that with regards to North Korea. North Korea is this puny nation, Our news makes fun of them. Sometimes they show their missile tests and talk about how they fail, but at the same time, they keep bringing them up as if they're this big boogeyman threat to us. It's just so ridiculous. And understand it's all mockery and false fear. But anyway, the author in 1984, the Korean War, here we are in 2017, 33 years from 1984. 1984 is the year Donald Trump became a celebrity. Donald Trump's now talking big against North Korea. Just think about it. From the day George Orwell died to the day the war began is 156 days. And the reason that's so interesting is if you write out 33, it sums to 156. What are the odds? His book, Winston, the main character, 33, Kim, 33, all these years later, all this 33 emphasis being put on the young leader, Kim. If you've never read George Orwell's book, the metaphor for the government and what it has done to the people in the novel, this nation that's always at war, that scares its people, that gives them nothing but fear and intimidation and behave or else, and changes history as time goes on, the metaphor for them becomes Big Brother. He calls them Big Brother. Big Brother has this gematria of 58, like Freemasonry, like secret society, like Annuit Coeptus, like Solomon's Temple. If you don't know about Freemasonry, it's based in the history of Solomon's Temple. They say Masonic lodges constructed with the layout of Solomon's Temple in mind. They say that modern-day Freemasonry highly impacted at the beginning of the 1600s by the Rosicrucian movement. Rosicrucians took Christianity and mixed it with the other older world spiritualities, mystical religions, magical religions of the world. It was like the hybridization of the existing religious spiritual knowledge, the Rosicrucians. And that's what Freemasonry is about too. So they say Rosicrucians influenced the Freemasons 58. Rosicrucian means Rose Cross 58. They say, who are they? They are Freemasonry. That's who George Orwell was writing about with Big Brother. That's who's still controlling the news. That's still who's making it by the same numbers to this day. United States has gematria 58 with the S exceptions. Don't forget your S exceptions. They're very relevant in regards to the reduction method. Derek's changed it to single reduction, but if you write out United States, 58. Remember, the Civil War began on the 102nd day of the year. Lincoln died on a date with 102 and 84 numerology. Slavery has gematria of 102, 42. There's so much more to the story, but to get back on point with the most recent news, here were the headlines yesterday, April 4th, 2017, the 68-year anniversary of the establishment of NATO. White House makes dire warning on North Korea. And the The message is stop your weapons testing program or face the consequences. You know, it's just like what it is, if you really honestly want to look at it. Let's just say that North Korea really is just testing their missiles on their own and they're just doing their thing and they're not New World Order puppets, which they are. Even if they are, their tests, they've proven not to be a threat to us. They're not a threat to us. And I guess you could say, well, why are we going to wait till the day they are a threat to us? Look at your government, what they do. They spend all your taxpayer money on military and thieving it from you. And meanwhile, we have all these real world problems that just get unneglected. And as a society, we've just said, well, that's people's problem. Deal with it. Well, why do we accept that? Why do we give away all of our tax money to these big boogeyman threats and say that's the right thing to do, but then, let the real world problems just slip by and say, well, who cares? We all live a lower standard quality of life for sacrificing for this military industrial complex. And if you don't do that, or if you don't recognize that, you're only negatively impacting yourself, your friends, your family, your future generations. So check this out. Yesterday, this news came out April 4th. It was Trump's 74th day since taking office, Inauguration Day. If you watch the news, they're saying North Korea could eventually get a nuclear weapon and be a threat. And that's what Trump's saying too. That's the reason we got to be preemptive. We got to stop them before they get the big one. Nuclear 74, weapons 74, energy 74 on the 74th day. The name of the pilot who flew the bomb that bombed Hiroshima, Paul Warfield Tibbets, what a name, right? Look at his date of birth, February 23rd. If you follow my work, we're talking about 223 all the time. February 23rd, the special date 223, Masonic 223, the Synagogue of Satan 223. His name in Gematria also sums to 119, like all-seeing eye, like Star of David, like master plan. I'll teach you something cool about the date Hiroshima happened here in just a second. First, just realize, again, this news came on April 4th, which is also the anniversary of the formation of NATO. This military alliance. The word military is 44, execution 44, genocide 44, kill 44, Asian 44. Yesterday's date, the date of this news, was a date with 45 numerology. Trump's the 45th president. World War II ended in 45 with the bombing of Hiroshima. White House makes dire warning on North Korea. This headline, Gematria of 197, which is the 45th prime number. If you think that's a coincidence, it's not. Donald Trump's wife, her birthday was 197 days before Election Day. And on that day, Trump gave a speech guaranteeing he would win the election and build the wall. Check it out. I got a video on it. 197 is the 45th prime. Trump's the 45th president. World War II ended in 45. This emphasized headline right here, the clock has now run out on North Korean nuclear program. That headline sums to 86. 86. 86 is what I call the symbol number. Do you know what the Eye of Providence is? If you don't, it's the all-seeing eye on the dollar bill. That's its official name, Eye of Providence. Eye of Providence equals 86, like symbol, like triangle, like pyramid. In Sumerian gematria, just the word providence alone sums to 666. But 86, this symbolic number, Hiroshima was bombed on August 6th, 1945, 8-6. Think about how symbolic that bombing is in our minds. Everyone who's ever seen the footage, I'm sure as I'm speaking, you can just envision it perfectly in your mind's eye. Because it's been shown to us so many times. And the reason why is because it's a symbol of fear and intimidation, even for the nation that did the bombing. Because now, as we know, we've grown up in a world where everybody has the technology, right? Or not everybody, but a lot. Maybe even terrorists with suitcase bombs, like they were telling us after 9/11. But again, all-seeing eye, this man who flew the plane that dropped the bomb, probably not even a real name. Paul Warfield, maybe. The date of the Hiroshima bombing was also August 6, 1945, date with 33 numerology. If you can see that, there's the math right there. 8 plus 6 plus 1 plus 9 plus 4 plus 5. They tested the bomb on the 33rd parallel on a date with 33 numerology in New Mexico, which is the 47th state, the reflection is 74, the number of degrees on a Freemason compass, 47. August 6th can also be expressed as 6/8, and what's interesting is the date of this news was the 68-year anniversary of the establishment of NATO, this military alliance, and also the current president who's making these big threats, Donald John Trump, has the 68 name gematria. What are the odds? So check this out. I documented this article. At the beginning of January, right after Trump was the president, Amazon announced that 1984 was their biggest selling book. And lo and behold, I'd been talking about for a year prior how Donald Trump was the presidential candidate straight from the book 1984. Making up things as he went, changing history, being unapologetic about it, calling for things such as legitimized torture. All of this is straight out of 1984. I was calling Trump the 1984 candidate all throughout 2016. Even go back to 2015 when his campaign began. Right after he became president, all of a sudden this news about 1984 being the best-selling book? I mean, how did that happen? To me, this was just more taunting. They say Donald Trump became a TV celebrity in 1984, 33 years before 2017. Again, 33 the number. Donald Trump is a Jesuit. The Jesuits are the Freemasons within the Catholic Church. Again, Washington, D.C., between Virginia and Maryland, the Virgin Mary. Jesuit 84. United States of America 84, the Twilight Zone, divide and conquer, a Masonic motto, order out of chaos 84. You got this woman making up fake terror attacks that never happened and being unapologetic about it. Also, 2017 is the 68-year anniversary of the publishing because the book was published in 1949 for one more 68. Just like how NATO established in 49. George Orwell. He died just short of his 47th birthday. The Korean War began on what would have been his 47th birthday, the number on the Freemason compass and square. They also mentioned this sale of 75,000 books. When I first did this post, we didn't know reverse gematria. Did you catch that Winston also had the reverse ordinal of 75, the main character? 75,000 copies. So before this video gets too long in the tooth, a few more things I want to touch on. North Korea H-bomb tested. These headlines from last year. They showed the magnitude. The magnitude as being 5.1. 5.1. Check this out. It was January 5th in the United States when it happened. It was January 6th over there. There are a few time zones ahead of us. But hydrogen, this word with 51 gematria. Just like conspiracy, 5.1 earthquake, date with 51 numerology. It was news January 5th late in the United States. They said it was at 3:30 GMT to get another 33 in there. But look, Truth Seeker, the message is, and the message tonight on the radio show is, how are we going to shut this down? Not to be afraid of this. Realize that they're spoofing us like the Wizard of Oz. Remember, in that book, The Wizard of Oz, very symbolic story. In the book, it's a gold road with silver slippers. In the movie, they changed the slippers to red. But in the book, it's all about fighting back against the banker warmonger tyrants, a group that are well known for centuries. They've been doing this for a long time. They made money off the genocide of the natives. Anyway, that book, all the people needed was some brains, some heart, and some courage. And that's the message here. We know what the powers that shouldn't be are up to. We can expose them in their doings. How are we going to do it? We know what we can do. How are we going to do it? I'm trying to do my piece. My piece isn't enough. The word's not getting out. So tonight, when you call in the show, 866-37-TRUTH, let's talk about that. That should be the focus of the show so we can put an end to these headlines. Living in fear. This is what they want you to do. So my work is to reverse that, Hydrogen bomb test, 84. Now he's born in 1984. He was born in 83 when that headline was made. It's just such a joke, Truth Seeker. Also, there was this recent story about his brother being killed by a chemical weapon attack. You know what's funny? We didn't know reverse gematria then. Am I right about this? Well, chemical weapons attack has the connection to Freemason and conspiracy. I forget, there's a 223 around there somewhere, but what I noticed is this story was published on February 23rd about his brother being killed with this nerve agent, Masonic 223. Just talked about yesterday's news out of Syria and all the 223 and that, plus everything else. His brother, though, was killed February 13th, the 44th day of the year. Again, the word kill, 44, military, genocide, execution. Yesterday, Donald Trump making the dire threat on April 4th. You know, it's all news by the numbers. His brother dead on the 44th day of the year. We know what gang operates by this code. Last year was Antonin Scalia on that day, dead at a ranch. Ranch equals 44. February 13th, 31 days in January, 13 more in February, that's 44. That day is known as Lupercalia, which even has gematria of 44. You know? Lupercalia. Kill, 44. Military, 44. Execution, 44. Genocide, 44. Think about words like trooper, officer, you know? They take commands to kill. So there it is, Truth Seeker. We really are living in the 1984 world. That book was living fiction. It was a warning. And now we see how the 1984 code operates in real time. So if you're new to my channel, be sure to sub, check out my videos. You know, I got over 2,000 videos pretty much just like this, exposing what's going on the daily. Donald Trump, the Jesuit, Mr. 84, been a TV celebrity since 84. Now his #1 enemy in the world, his birthday has been changed to 84. It's just so, if you read 1984, it's just so unreal, you know? It's everything we're witnessing and more. And you'll see it all if your eyes are open. Until next time, Truth Seeker. Core. One last point on 84. We're going to talk about President Obama, the number 84, and what it has to do with the word bomb. President Obama, a name that kind of sounded like bomb. Check this out. None of this stuff's coincidence. We are living out a planned agenda that has some next big, narrative in it. Something like September 11th, because we haven't gotten justice for that day or the many other false flags. At some point, they'll have another. Now, check this out. Obama's birthday is August 4th, 8/4, right? Kind of like 84. If you write out Obama in Jewish gematria, it sums to 84, just like the word bomb. And do you remember last year that story of Flight 804 with the bomb going off? Go back and watch my work on that video. If you write out 84, it sums to 804 like that flight. All of these stories are taking us somewhere. We'll see eventually where that is. If you can remember when MH370 disappeared, they theorized that the plane had been hijacked by terrorists and they put a nuclear bomb inside it and they were going to set it off into an EMP blast that could knock out the power of the country. There's a reason they keep giving us all these news stories. They're building up in our mind, in our consciousness, and eventually they'll give us the next piece of the narrative and somehow they'll bring all these underlying threats, that have been laid out for decades together. But it's all by the numbers. And real quick about Obama and Trump. Obama was number 44 in terms of presidents, but he was only the 43rd person to be president. Trump is number 45, but he's only the 44th person. And remember, this feud between Trump and Obama goes back to 2010, 2011. In English reduction, the word birther equals 44. Trump said that Obama was born somewhere else, started the birther argument. The divisors of the number 44, if you add the divisors of 44 together, they sum to 84. You see, we're getting this ongoing continuation. from Obama to Trump. Trump having a lot of parallels to Reagan, who was president when in 1984. That's enough for now, Truth Seeker. Until next time.